We have had 2 years of Mom Story Time. I had a lot of fun with you guys and telling the stories. Some of parts of it were a little bit private, but nonetheless, I mean, it's part of my life and it belonged to it. The support that you have given me over the time, the comments, were always very, very kind, and I thank you for that. Are you tearing up? Oh. So guys, this is basically like a, you know, closing the circle moment. Hey my lovelies, it's your girl Mel. Welcome back to my channel, and we are here with Mommy. So it's another story time with Mommy. Story time with Mommy. I know it has been a while, but we have another story time for y'all. But as usual, I'm just going to let Mommy take over. Yeah, it has been a good while actually, and the reason being is that my daughter and I have not been in the same country for the longest time, because she was in, or is still in, America, and I came here the other day, and she will leave soon and I will stay here for a little while. So we said we have to do this now, so that is why we are sitting here. And basically, I don't even know what I told you the last time, but I remember that we came to, well, it's after Nicky was born. It is after a lot of things happen in my life. Of course, it is a very long time ago that things happen, so I can't really remember certain things that well. But we are coming now to a time where basically my relationship with Thierry is coming to an end, because no big drama, no big problem or other partners or anything, nothing like that. It was simply that basically he was very unhappy seeing that he was a truck driver and he was on the road from Sunday evening to Friday afternoon, basically for the entire week, not at home at all. I was at that point in time, after studying, I had to stop study after I had my second child, so I was basically at home. And we were living, if you remember, in this little farmhouse where we had a garden and animals and this and that. So apart from having my children and living with other people in that house, I had to take care of the garden and the animals. So when he came on Friday evenings or afternoons, I was like, oh, finally he'll take the children. Which he was too happy about that, of course, because he was very tired from his week. And I mean, I exaggerate a bit, but I was happy that he would come and see the children, and he was happy for that too, but basically very tired. And it's like our lives kind of separated, we're going different directions, right? So when Nicky was about the summer, I think it was summer 81, about that time, we went to France together as usual. We had our VW bus. We took our 2 dogs and our 2 children. Not that the children are less important than the dogs. And went to France, and we came to a place, I think it was in the Provence, way up in the mountains, where we met some people who were living there, and they had a goat farm and milked the goats and would make goat cheese. So we spent like about a week with them, and we had a good time. And Thierry was feeling very much at home there. He was feeling very good there. So he was like, oh, I would love to come back here, because they said they were looking for somebody else to stay there for a while and stuff. So basically we came back home to Germany, and he was really dissatisfied at that point in time. And so what happened is we I don't even know how to say it. It's a long time ago and I don't know how it really happened. But the decision was made that we would separate. And he would go to France, stay there with these people for a while. I would stay in our house in Bielefeld with the 2 children. And then we would see from there. I mean, it was like I said, nothing dramatic, nothing with a lot of quarrels or hatred or nothing. It was like we both felt that our lives were drifting apart. That was it. And then at first he wanted to take Yosch with him, where that is the only point where I was on strike. I said no, I'm not going to separate those children, because I mean they were only 22 months apart. They were very close as brothers. At that time Nicky was 1.5 years old and Yosch 3.5, and basically they were doing everything together. They were stuck together like this. So I said no, I'm not going to separate them. I'm very sorry. You are going to a life right now with insecurities. You do not really have a place to stay. You do not even know how to earn your money. You have nothing really stable for any child in the first place, plus no separation of the 2 children. So basically he resigned himself to the fact, because he realized that I probably was right. So he left, which put me in a situation though, because he was a breadwinner of the family, that I didn't have any more income. I did not have any I did not have a job at the time. So what happened, luckily, very very luckily, a good friend of mine at the time, she was working as a German teacher in a school for people coming from Russia and Poland. A few would come from Vietnam or China, but those were the minor part. Mostly Russia and Poland, because those people were the ones that were cut off from Germany after World War II, because Germany lost big parts of its territory to Poland and to Russia. So these people were practically by heritage German, but of course they spoke Russian up to that point. So they had applied to come back to Germany to live there, but had to learn the language. And at that point in time there were a lot of them coming in, and they were desperately looking for teachers. Now I am not a learned teacher. I mean, I think I had a little affinity to teach, but I did not study it or anything. But they were so desperate to find people that they would employ me. So I found myself now in a situation where not only didn't I have a breadwinner in the family anymore, my children both were small, and I had to find a way to keep them while I was working, because I had to start work early in the morning. I had to start by 7 o'clock in the morning. Start, not leave the house, start work, because school would go until 1 o'clock, which was good because that meant I was free in the afternoons. But still I had to find a place for them to stay with throughout those hours. And at that point in time I did have some problems with the other people in my house that were living there. Otherwise I could have left them there probably, but they were kind of, you see, what happened is when Thierry left, I think we did take in one person. He had come back from India after spending a year or 2 in India, and he came and visited us, and he said, oh, I don't have a place to stay right now. Is there a possibility that I can stay here for a little while? And so we gave him shelter, basically.
So how many people were there in the house
at that time? We were 2 there, 3, 4 other people than me and the 2 children.
Okay.
So the time when Thierry left, for some reason all these people were turning against me to a degree, which up to this day I don't really have an idea why. Because we did not quarrel, we did not have a big problem, there was nothing wrong really, but this special guy who just came from
India, I think what he saw, he said, oh, if I can get Sabina out, I can take over her part and stay there. So he actually started to mob me. I mean, mob. I give you an example. For example, one day I came home after school and I start my vacuum cleaner, because of course with 2 children, the house is always messy to a degree, so I clean up and start my vacuum cleaner. And he dashed in my living room, pull out the vacuum out of my hand, turn it off, and start cuss me out, you know. In my own place and in my own house, and it's like, what? And it was not like in the middle of the night or anything, you know. And I was like standing there, and I was, how to say, this separation from Thierry did weaken me, although we were separating, but a separation is a separation. It will take an effect on you after 10 years. We had been together 10 years. And at that point in time, I was 25. I was young. No, 26, sorry. I was young, right? And so, of course, it did take a certain toll on me, and I was not as strong and as confident as I might have been even before. So when he did all these little actions, he would always constantly bicker against me and go on against me and say something and snide remarks, and you know. So of course it really did hurt me. But and it caused a rift between me and all the other people in the house at that point in time. Right? So I felt actually very uncomfortable, yeah. So that was the reason why I could not leave my children with the other girl that I mentioned before, that came live with us with her son, because he really created a rift even between her and me as well. Right? So I had to find people now, or a way to have my children taken care of throughout the morning hours while I was in school. And at first they were too small for kindergarten, and kindergarten would only start at 8 o'clock, so that would have been too late for me. So I needed another solution. So I looked in the newspaper, because sometimes people would advertise that they would take in children and stuff, and finally found a lady not too far from us who would do that. And I went there and we kind of connected, and she agreed to take the 2 boys and for the few hours, and of course I had to pay for it, and it was a good amount of my salary going into that, you know. So basically I was working well, full-time, not in the sense 8 hours a day, but as a teacher full-time. And a good chunk of my salary would go into having somebody for the children. So that went on. I kind of enjoyed the teaching part. It was a nice job. I had fun. I actually, the first course I was doing was an 8-month course, all adults. And well, sometimes some of them young adults, like 18, 19, but all of them adults. I had some that were going up to 60 years old. So very mixed classes with Russian and Polish people in one class. We had all ages from 18 up, female, male, everything mixed up. And it was a very interesting experience for me, because this very first course I gave for the 8 months, I learned as much as my students. Because when I was preparing the next lesson for the next morning in the book, I read through, and I was like, oh yeah, this is how it goes in the German grammar, you know. And I had to remember how my schooling went, but it was really nice, because I think it kept my teaching very lively. I was not one of those teachers that had experience over years and years in their routine. But I was almost as fresh as they were, only that I spoke fluent German, of course. And it kept it lively and fresh, because I couldn't, for some reason, I couldn't make it interesting for them to learn German. So they had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. They really, my first course especially, they really appreciated me. Remember now, I had the same people every day for 5 days a week, from Monday to Friday, from 7 in the morning to 11:30 in the morning, and only the last 2 block, like 45-minute blocks, was with another class, and that for 8 months. So of course you get to know your people, you know. I mean, you have all these people you see every day for hours and teach them, and then sometimes you get a little bit of their private lives. They will show you, or they I will never forget this one lady. She was Russian, and we had different levels as well. We had A, B, and C. So I had the A class in the morning and C for the last 2. So I think she was in a C class, speaking a little bit German already. And one day she started to cry, and she was sitting in my class, and I said, what happened to you? Why are you crying? And she said, oh, in Russia we were the Germans, and we never belonged there. No, in Germany we are the Russians, and we don't belong here neither. So I do not know where I belong. And she was really upset about it and sad, and it made me think. And I said, yeah, you know, it's true to a degree, because in the country where they were before, they were outsiders, and in Germany they definitely were outsiders too. And I kind of it changed my attitude towards them as well, because I started to kind of feel sorry and saying, whoa, you guys have it hard, because mind you, financially they were much better off than I was. Because what happened now, they would come, and the whole family, say you have the 2 parents and you have 3 to 4 adult children, each of them in the family, say they have 3 children adult, they would get 800 mark at the time, mark each. And that's 5 people, that is 4,000 mark a month for them to live off. I was working as a teacher full time. I only got 1,600. That was my salary, right? So, and I had 2 children to feed out of that. So you see, there was a real big imbalance. And we kind of, the German people, sometimes they were kind of upset, saying, hey, they come from another country, they just reach here, they never worked, they never had no responsibility here, and they get so much money. And we are working and doing our jobs can only earn so much, you know. So it was a little harder situation for everybody. So when this lady reacted like that, and I felt her loneliness, and I felt her feeling of being lost in this country, which a lot of them were lost, because the attitude that the Germans at the time had was so much different from what they knew. So it was, for me, it was an interesting job, it was a fulfilling job. For example, what I used to do too, because you know how it is when people try to learn another language, they feel very insecure. They do not really want to speak. They might be good in writing after some time or whatever, but they are afraid to speak because, oh my God, they could laugh at me, or maybe, oh, I'm making mistakes. No. You're not getting really nervous about it. So I used to take the entire class. We used to walk out, and I would, for example, take them to the railway station and tell one of them, you go to the information place there now, and you ask for a train from here to here on that day, and how much for the ticket. And they were like, what? No, I can't do that. I can't speak German. They won't understand me. And I said, you go now. And then they went, you know, and really you should see, they were like, oh my God, I'm so afraid to do this. And then they went, and I said, look, I'm right beside you, I'm right standing here, nothing will happen to you. If anything, I will help you out, don't worry, try. So they were standing there and doing what they were supposed to do, and of course the person did understand them, maybe not that good, but did understand them. So they all came back, all of them. I mean, not one single one did not come back like this. I did it. He understood me. I get what I was supposed to, and they were changed people. Because they realized suddenly, whoa, if I open my mouth and I use the language that I don't really know, but it will work. So that was another point where I was very happy and proud to be their teacher, because I mean, to help people to lose their fear of using a strange language was a wonderful experience for me as well, not only for them. You know, so this job basically was very rewarding for me. I liked it. I had a good time with them, and whenever a course was finished, we would have a little party going, you know, and every time I got a gift from the entire class, and some of them even hugged me and cried and said, oh, and you were helping me so much, and thank you, thank you, thank you. And so I think it was really, really rewarding doing that job. So that is how I started to earn my money after I was basically out of a breadwinner on my side. One thing with Chiri,
I have a question. So you said the C-level ones were the ones that could speak a little German?
When they came, but not good enough.
And A-level is...
Didn't know anything.
So how did you communicate with them? If they
only in German, strictly in German.
Russian and...
Strictly in German, with hand and feet and this and that, and trying to explain. There was no other language going.
So there was no translator or anything?
Nothing. And one interesting fact as well, because my colleagues in that school, most of them, some of them were like me, just slipped in, but most of them were studied teachers. But after a year or so working in that school, I ended up that they gave me some of the people that came there wouldn't learn in the first 8 months, right? Not even a simple thing like saying in German, or answering if somebody asks them what's their name, where they live, what kind of profession they're, the basics, they wouldn't even know those, because they were either learn resistant or were simply not able to learn or whatever. Anyhow, after 1 year, they ended up to give me those complicated students, because they realized that my class learned well and they learned good. So I was like, why are you giving them to me? I mean, you have all these studied people here. Why me, who never studied the subject? But, well, they did. And actually, sometimes you have to brag about yourself. Actually, they learned. They had an additional 3 months. And in those 3 months, with me, they learned more than in the 8 previous months. So I was pretty good as a teacher. So that was that part, and one thing that was a little bit, Thierry did get money from the German government, because he was out of a job, and he, for 1 year, the first year, and he would get some money, the unemployed payment, which he would live off in France. And basically he was supposed to give me a little bit out of it for the children, maintenance, right? Not a cent. Not a cent. And my mommy now, she was like kind of sorry for me, of course, about this whole splitting things, me having to work and being under a lot of stress suddenly. And so she, just to give me a little highlight, she said, oh, you know what, I'm going to buy a little sofa for you for your living room, because at that point in time we only had 2 big mattresses on top of each other as a sofa. That was it. So she did that, and I got a simple little sofa that I could pull out as a bed, because we always used to have visitors and stuff. And when Thierry heard that, and I asked him, one time I did ask him, can you send me some money for the children, please, because I need something. Oh, if your mother can buy you a sofa, she can pay for you too. And I was like, what? What my mother has to do with that? A fee or picnic that? Or is it your picnic? You know? So that was one part of the relationship. At that point in time, I found a little bit shitty of him. You know, I mean, basically leaving and saying, okay, I have nothing to do with nothing anymore. But this is how I ended up the first time in my life having to mind for my children all by myself. no help, no nothing. Actually, at a later time in life, when I was in Jamaica already, he would get money for my children from the Swiss government. He applied for them, and he didn't give me a cent out of it. He kept it, and I found that very, very unfair. But well, so you go. I raised them, I got them big, everything was alright. Now coming back to this guy from that tried to mob me out of my own house, I got so desperate. And so, because I felt so uncomfortable in the place. And mind you, if you remember, it's Thierry and me found the house, you know. It's Thierry and me started to set it up first. We were living in there at first alone until we decided we wanted to share it with some other people. Right? We give this guy shelter after he come home, or after he come back to Germany after being in India for so long. Right? And this guy is trying to mob me out of my own place, and nobody was there to help me or support me, you know. So I got so desperate that I decided I'm going to go to a lawyer. Now, being kind of, how you did call it, well, you would say hippie, right? I mean, we were basically supposed to not use any legal help or entities to support whatever we needed. So me going to a lawyer now, because what I wanted from this lawyer is to write him a letter and tell him to get the hell out of my place. Because I had told him several times, I want you out, I want you to leave, which of course did not help with the mobbing. It made it worse. And I was actually at one point in time, one time he was standing right in front of me like he wanted to lick me, you know. He had raised his hand already against me. He did not lick me because he knew if he did, he would be out. But he was raising his hand already, so I started to fear for my own physical safety. And that's when I decided to go to the lawyer. Plus, I mean, for the children, it was not a good atmosphere to be in. Neither, you know, and I had enough on my plate already. I mean, separation, starting to work, finding somebody for the children, and I couldn't manage anymore. So when I finally went to this lawyer, and people of course got to understand the people in my house, and we were friends with some people in surrounding places that were living in community as well, like we did, and we were kind of acquainted and would help out each other. I think I mentioned that already. Suddenly for all of them, I was this awful person that would go to a lawyer. That was like going to the devil, you know. And so I was shunned. Everybody shunned me. I was basically all by myself again, you know. Was not nice at all. And it was a really, really rough time. I mean, at that point in time, I lost a lot of weight. I couldn't eat anymore. I couldn't sleep anymore. I was stressed out to the max. And, as it happened now, the 1st of October is my birthday. I was in school, I went to work, and it was so cute because my students did know it was my birthday, so they gave me a bracelet for my birthday, and we had a little cake and stuff. And when I reached home, I realized something was a bit different. And I said, wait, what's going on here? And I looked around. That guy was gone. 1st of October, and he left the house. I was ready to party. I was dancing in the house. I was like, yeah, 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 woo, hoo, hoo. You know, I was so happy. You have no idea. That was it for me. I mean, it made my birthday the best birthday almost of my life, because finally getting rid of that monster in my eyes, you know, was fantastic. And as of that point in time, I started to relax more in the house. Actually, the whole runnings with Gila and her partner at that time became a lot better again too, because he was really influencing her against me so much, and until when he was gone, she realized that, whoa, I got manipulated here. So we basically started to get along better again too. everything calmed down more or less. The only thing was that the lady that I kept my children with at first, after a while she said, I can't keep them. They are so much, because my children were very lively, you know, and it was too much for her. So I was like, oh my God, now me have to find somebody else, which I did. I found a younger lady, and I would carry them to their house. I had to carry them to somewhere else because I couldn't have nobody in our house at the time. I found somebody too. So basically, that guy out of the house, my children taken care of. I got a job that I liked and enjoyed. So at that point in time, my life was pretty much in order again, and I enjoyed it again, and things started to look up again. But after when was that now? In end of 82, suddenly the students started to dwindle. The people from Russia and Poland, they were less and less. It was a hype for 2 years, and suddenly it was like almost over because most of them came over at one time. So basically what happened at the school, they had a lot less students. Of course they didn't get finance anymore. It was not a government thing, it was a private school. And so all the teachers that had come in last had to go. They got notice, as was I. So that means by the end of 82 I was again out of a job.
So how long were you working there?
Started about, I don't even know. I think I started even, when did I start? I worked there for 2 years about, so say 80, 81. So, which kind of pulled me down again too, because I was like, oh God, what am I going to do now? And that is when this friend of mine was visiting one day and telling me he would be going back to Jamaica on a project, and that is when suddenly in my head it was like bling 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 bling, Jamaica, I want to go to Jamaica, I want to discover Jamaica, I want to find out about it, I want to find out where the reggae come from, I need a break here in Europe anyway. I need a break from my life, I need a complete break. So yes, let me try this. And as I have told in the following long sequence of my life in Jamaica, I went to my mommy, I told her about it, and she actually saw that it was important for me and said, okay, I'm going to buy you the ticket for you and the children. At the time was, I don't know, not that expensive. And well, that is how my life in Germany as it was finished on the 23rd of January 1983. I entered the plane and flew to Jamaica, and if you want to restart my first part, my very first mom story time is starting from that flight going to Jamaica, and whoever is interested might want to maybe listen to some of the stories again and see what happened after. So I would like to thank you for our time together. We have had now what, almost 2 years, wait, more than 2 years. We have had 2 years of Mom Story Time. I had a lot of fun with you guys and telling the stories. Some of parts of it were a little bit private, but nonetheless, I mean, it's part of my life and it belonged to it. The support that you have given me over the time, the comments, were always very kind, and I thank you for that.
Are you tearing up? Oh. So guys, this is basically like a, closing the circle moment, because our first ever mom story time was about the time when she got to Jamaica, which basically is the ending of the story that she just finished today in this video. So for the people who haven't seen it as yet, there's a whole lot of Jamaican mom story times.
80 stories I think we have.
I don't know, a lot.
About 80.
a lot. With all the stuff that she went through in her, how many years in Jamaica? 40 years in Jamaica, and all the stuff that she went through, you know, experiences she made as a white woman in Jamaica.
A white woman with 2 imported children.
And you know, all of those stuff, you know, ups and downs and everything that you can think of. Some rough things that she had to kind of relive while telling the stories. There were a lot of times where she was like, I don't know if I should share this because this is like kind of really private, and since it happened I've never ever spoken about it again really and stuff like that. So she really gave you a lot of her in these story times, but she only lived this many years. Only. I mean, it's a lot of years. It's been
I might be able to find some random stories. So what might happen that in the future we might have a few little things popping up once in a while, not in regular, where I might gather some stories together that I did not tell us yet, because of course I could not put everything in what I was telling you about. And so I'll try and gather some more stories together that you did not hear as yet, and then we might just do like some random things if you would love that.
Yeah guys, so this is basically the end of mom's story time for right now. I appreciate all the people that have been there from early on. Like,
fantastic. You were patient.
Y'all went on a journey with us, trust us. And yeah, just appreciate you guys just continuously checking it out. But that will be it for now. So no more mom story time for right now. We are going to switch up a bit and try and find new things to do. But thank you so much, guys.
Definitely.
And yeah, this is our last goodbye. Yeah. Aww. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, share and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.
I can tell stories about how the lover of my husband tried to kill me. How the Jamaican government took away my marina.
How she traveled on a drugs boat too.
Oh yeah, then I was so broke that I basically went on a ship full of drugs to Florida. And this chicken running.
So she didn't take the warning, guys.
Nope. I mean, when you love somebody, you do not want to get any disturbance. You don't want to listen to anybody. So, not even to a chicken. I told him, look, I'm sorry, but this girl cannot stay here. She has to go. So, excuse me, who is the war here? Maybe that woman attempted to murder me. And when I say a storm, it was a storm. Ina, come, I want to talk to you. They obeyed him. And I was like, yeah, right. You know, Obia, I'm pregnant. I have to leave. I have to leave. I can't stay here. No, I have to leave. He grabbed a machete and started to lick me with the machete, the flat side. Came the baby on the cooking pot. They started to look around and poke. Oh, guys, please! Like, oh my god, this looks ugly. The baby actually had the navel cord twice around her neck. There's the baby, but look in the bucket. Chasabina. You're too maga, girl. You're not sexy again. Grab the person by the balls, literally. Boy, I tell you, I've seen some grown men turn really, really pale. After she got married to him, what happened to him on his wedding night? And me him spend it with? You know? Bouquet of flowers. And gave it to me and said, here, because you made me see snow for the first time. A grown black man, you know. And he packed his things. Déjà vu. I was like, what did I miss here? And then, okay, my arms. Das war echt unartig. I said, okay, that's it. That's it. No more Jamaica. Let's go back to Germany. No. So I took out the fish gun. I loaded it. Do not touch my children again. Ever. I would have shot.
You would have shot them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mommy, but
yeah. Leave me alone. No commitment or
but
anything.
Why? What?
I linked up with her ex-husband, and for them it was like, what? I think Drew has a threesome with them all the time. Brought her 3 children to one beach in Port Antonio and tried to drown them.
When it's dopey, I fling the towel off of them.
I was saying, boy, we should really hang up some cameras here and do a daily soap opera.
Trust me nearly.
I have to start polish 6 hours a day? No way.
So Sabina kind of hold him and shake him, man. And walk through the entire town half naked.
Now, yours truly here is somebody who looks at a man and get pregnant. And throughout that fight, he had nothing better to do than to kick me in my belly with his foot. Really,
so I was in mommy belly and saying, you not getting rid of me.
Exactly. Then they get in an argument. No, you have to do it like this. No, you have to do it like this. What the bumper clutch? You have to do it like that, you know. You're talking too. You want to tell the story? Yes.
Say yes, grandma. I know.
You want to tell the story? You know the story? So I went to court, and trust me, I was treated. Huh?
I said, mommy, a bad girl.
Now me, big rebel that I am, they started to build. I opened up my business. I said, you know what, honestly, you want to close me down again? I was ready to fight them.
Never ever stops, no matter how much we are suffering. She always, you know, takes other people into consideration at all times. I just want to tell you,
Baby.
that I love that you are that way, even though I know it's so sad.